Since the first Diablo game launched way back in early 1997, many have been obsessed with venturing into hell and maiming its people before escaping with loot. Every Diablo game follows the hero of Tristram in the dark world of Sanctuary, a realm that exists between the high heavens and the burning hells, and all the angels and demons that the hero encounters. This is such an incredible franchise, created with an epic world to adventure and extensive lore to accompany it. All the Diablo games, which were produced by Blizzard Entertainment, are popular because they have superb gameplay mechanics and rich environments, on top of a unique system that allows the player to replay levels at increasingly higher difficulties. I mean, come on, hunting down and killing the devil along with all of his hordes is always going to be a thrill ride. And while some Diablo games released over the past 3 decades may have performed dismally, others have thrived tremendously well. Hey guys, welcome back to Game Rant. My name is Casey, and today we're going to be going over and ranking every Diablo game in the franchise. With that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. Kicking off this list at number 9, we've got Diablo III. Many gamers had anticipated much from Diablo III after waiting over 10 years for the game's release. However, upon its release, it really failed to live up to the expectations of the fans. Most of the players that bought it ended up staring at an Error 37 prompt instead of playing the actual game. Even after Error 37 was addressed, its in-game auction house was still unappealing, as players had to purchase items from the auction house in order to be able to progress further in the game, which caused even more controversy. Other issues that seem to have watered down this game were the disappointing loot system, poor character development, and underwhelming visuals. Next up at number 8, we've got Diablo Immortal. Although they caused quite a bit of controversy once again with the announcement of Diablo Immortal at BlizzCon in 2018, don't you guys have cell phones?
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones.
Blizzard created a Diablo game that adapts quite well to mobile devices. It features tight animations with weighty abilities, and each class has a unique identity. And I haven't even mentioned the excellent loot in appropriately crafted armor. Apart from these positive points, however, Immortal's gameplay is rather flimsy, accompanied with some pretty lifeless voice acting. Furthermore, Diablo Immortal has horrendous microtransactions, to the point where the game has even been banned in the Netherlands and Belgium. Yeah, maybe Blizzard should have offered the game with a price tag instead of making it a pay-to-win system. At number 7, we've got Diablo III: Rise of the Necromancer. This expansion was released back in 2017 as the second expansion for Diablo III. Unlike Reaper's Souls, the first expansion, and other Diablo games, Rise of the Necromancer didn't make drastic changes to the previous expansion, but instead opted to proceed on the side of caution. Blizzard added new class characters like the Necromancer class. They also added zones and Shrouded Moors. Although some agreed that the Necromancer class was slightly overpowered, these additions provided players with different challenges and rewards to discover. The slight changes contributed minimally to Diablo III though, which was more successful by this time thanks to the previous expansion. And speaking of the previous expansion, at number 6 we've got Diablo III: Reaper of Souls. Now, Reaper of Souls significantly improved the initial Diablo III mess. It seems like Blizzard realized what made its earlier games great. They discarded the infamous in-game auction house and brought in a new class with the new boss. Apart from optimizing the loot drops, it introduced a new class, the Crusader, which specialized in defense and heavy weapons. Generally, Reaper of Souls compensated for what had earlier glued its fanbase. It's kind of the norm for Blizzard to revamp and expand the game. The graphics are noticeably upgraded, and the art design witnessed an improvement as with the West March. The introduction of new classes provided unique gameplay. At last, Diablo's massive fanbase had every reason to return to this franchise. At number 5, we got Diablo IV. This latest iteration of the franchise was received kind of poorly during the game's beta, but once it was released, it proved to be a success for Blizzard. It seems that Blizzard has learned from its previous mistakes by fine-tuning the combat, offering various build options to each class, and providing the game with a strong live service foundation. Moreover, the graphics in Diablo IV are quite impressive, and it's received good reviews all around. Nevertheless, some people do feel that the story is rather dull, and that the game only really starts once the campaign is completed. Some parts of the game are also very repetitive, requiring a lot of mindless killing. Diablo IV is not the worst in the franchise, but certainly not the best. Coming in at number 4, we've got Diablo Hellfire. Surprisingly, Diablo's first expansion wasn't created by Blizzard, but by Synergistic Software. This is why many Diablo fans were bothered about the franchise's future. However, the worry ceased as changes weren't too radical to the game. In fact, the expansion of the original Diablo slightly tidied up things. In particular, Hellfire's new levels and monsters were introduced, keeping the loot and the feeling of grind more alive. Additionally, the gamers loved their characters getting more powerful as they navigated through the hostile dungeons. On the downside, Hellfire never featured a multiplayer system as it was to its predecessor, and this is why many have yet to experience improvements in the online arena. At number 3, we've got the original Diablo. That's right, the game that started it all way back in 1997. Many could never anticipate the effect of this game. While several action RPGs had been released before, none had been more impactful as this. What made this original production more interesting was the ability to choose the player's favorite character before delving into Tristram Town. That soundtrack really cranked up the atmosphere. More importantly, its loot system kept gamers pouring in many hours in the game. While playing online was somewhat new back then, Diablo was at the forefront of the multiplayer revolution. Up to date, the game still holds up, although it certainly feels archaic playing it sometimes. Coming in at number 2, we've got Diablo II. Diablo II was an incredible milestone for the larger franchise. In fact, to date, some of its fans have kept this role-playing action game alive, so they keep moving all along together forever. Blizzard made several improvements in this game. While the first game laid the foundation with few details, Diablo II advanced, creating more unforgettable experiences. The sequel had justifiable reasons for the return of the main villain. The game witnessed a vast world of adventure with new fantastic lore. Hack-and-slash combat was redefined and improved. And coming in at our number 1 spot, Diablo II: Lord of Destruction. While Diablo II was the best sequel, Lord of Destruction turned out to be the masterpiece. Some even believe that if Blizzard didn't release this game, no one would still be playing Diablo II on platforms. The game brought out a more substantial relationship between the Hellfire expansion and the first game. Moreover, its expansion resulted in 2 new classes, Druid and Assassin. Both classes featured different sets of skills and items that were distributed everywhere, giving a fresh opportunity to the experts and a warm reception to new players. But that wasn't enough. Baal, the new demon, was also introduced. The merger of old and new classes was a perfect innovation for adventure. Diablo II: Lord of Destruction was undoubtedly a big step up for the franchise. The fan base of this game could spend more hours playing the game because of its more complex settings, making it a no-brainer for our number 1 spot. And that's our list, guys. Let us know in the comments what your favorite Diablo game is. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, be sure to visit GameRant.com for more top-notch gaming content. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you in the next video.